NFTs, Bitclout, TikTok, the craze, the fads. It can be overwhelming for musicians to put things into perspective. And speaking of NFTs, what do they really mean for the future of Spotify and other services? Stick around, we have a lot to discuss. Hello and welcome to Music Industry City's Monday Kickoff, where we offer up important tips for a successful career and get you motivated for the week ahead. I'm Peter Schwing, and joining me today is my fellow co-hosts, Aisha Adamo and the Duke. If there's something you'd like to chime in about, join us in the chat or leave a comment below. And stick around for the after show. Sometimes we come back after we roll out the credits, we magically reappear. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Aisha. Dave, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Spring is in the air, starting to warm up.
Loving it. Loving the warm weather.
Yeah. Dave, how was your weekend?
My weekend's cool, man. Everything's chill. They got this concert series that de Blasio put in for the New York City, and it's actually right outside my studio. So it's rad, man. It's good vibes.
Right on. So what do you have coming up later in the show?
We're going to talk about NFTs because that's the popular thing right now, and just kind of talking about whether it's something that you should put your energy into or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all the buzz, and if anybody's on Clubhouse, you can't go into the Clubhouse hallway without seeing, a dozen rooms on NFTs, some interesting, some just giving terrible information. So, and speaking of NFTs, Aisha, I mean, how does the artists are overwhelmed?
Yeah, well, I feel like the mind of the artist right now is like, it's like, oh, like in this direction, it's like your Spotify numbers, and then it's over here with your TikTok numbers, and then, oh, it's NFTs, it's BitClout, like what the hell? So we're just going to talk about how to simmer down on that, just simmer on down.
Well, why don't we get to that then? All right.
Cool.
Hey, there you go. A little side-by-side action here. Yeah, and I know you're on Clubhouse, so you get to see all the NFT discussions that are going on, whether you're popping in, and musicians. You see a lot of musicians in there.
Whether I want to see the NFT discussions or not, but no, I do. Some of them not so much.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's it's like how to put things in perspective, and it's like it's not that big of a deal in a sense, like stressing about it and everything. I know you got a lot to talk about on this one, so I'm going to let you ride. Take it away.
Awesome. So, here we are as creatives. We just have this long list of things that we must do and platforms that we must be on. It just keeps getting longer and more involved, whether it's gaming the algorithm on TikTok or investigating what's happening with BitClout. There's this there's just a lot of noise out there about, where you need to be, what you need to be doing, and when you're trying to find your own way into, the next big social media platform in the hopes of becoming the next big thing yourself as an artist, all of that can be pretty daunting, and it's a lot of mind taffy. So much of this is a way of living in the future in our minds. We're so concerned with how to get from where we are to where we want to be that the present moment becomes null and void. Even like, I mean, I'll admit it, even I engage in this from time to time just because there's this pursuit of relevance as an artist in this ever shifting online world that you want to catch on to the next big thing so that you can be that next big thing you want to be. But there's a lot to it. So no sooner have we begun to like adopt one avenue of expressing ourselves and one platform in the world, then a dozen new options appear. Or even if we're focused enough to be singular about the avenue we're focusing on, the algorithm will change, all the rules of what we're doing will change in that singular avenue. And so we have to throw things up in the air and keep changing ourselves. The pursuit of it all can clog up your mind space with all sorts of mental gymnastics that we know on some level really aren't the best thing for us. Or sometimes it's not the future that's plaguing the mind, but actually the past. Maybe it's a less than smooth collaboration that you engaged in years ago that's come back to haunt you, right when you thought you were free to move forward and leave all of that past stuff behind. Maybe it's an old band member or an old manager or agent, or even an old flame that resurfaces and brings back all that agita, all that stuff you don't need and we're hoping to not have to deal with again. Whether it's the past or the future that's haunting your mind, I found that there's one really great solution to all this: reminding yourself that it's not that important. Asking yourself if you can care less about all of it. Look, I mean, here you are in this moment. You have your physical body, you have your breath, you have the fire of life inside of you, you have your mind, and you have your spirit. And if you just stop for a moment and sense that, you realize that no one else's story is going to be able to infringe upon your story. You have this life in you right now. Okay, so you made some choices in the past, some alliances in the past that may not have been the best, but you're still here and you've moved along, and all your future choices are your own. And okay, yeah, so maybe your efforts right now to conquer the ever-changing social media landscape in the future aren't really yielding the fruit that you'd hoped for, but you're still you. You still have your talent, your skills, and your you-ness, and nobody else can have that. So all that other stuff outside of this you-ness, this life that is you, it really doesn't matter that much. You can stop and feel that your life is inside you right now. Can you do that? Can you stop and feel just right now? Okay, yeah, I'm me. Can you stop and feel that bodily sensation, that fire of experience of life in you right now? I mean, that's the thing that counts. That's the thing. So if you find that you're feeling attacked by the past or by the future or both at once, these, days that we're going through here, just pause for a moment and get back into just perspective on it. None of it is really important as, the agitated mind gives it credit for. It's just not that important. So feel your life in this moment, right here, right now. I mean, that's what really counts. So that's what I've got for this week.
Right on, right on. So, the whole thing, the change, like keeping up with all of the different updates. When you're talking about the algorithms, it's like first I have to learn how to use this platform. Then I have to go research every blog article. And if you're smart, then you're going out and researching how to use this from the people that are telling you this is how to use, and get the algorithm to find you and all this. And then it's like, then it changes every a month later it changes, and it's like, oh, I have to keep on top of this. Well, I'm writing music, I'm producing, I'm trying to get my artwork done, I'm trying to do this, and that's where they say it's like, well, the team. They talk about the team, having a team around you. Well, are you ready to have that team? We could look at like the artists that are just starting off, or the artists like maybe if you're in a band. It's like, well, assign somebody to keep on top of like everything that Instagram or TikTok and what's going on.
Mhm.
You have to kind of like do that. So if we don't look at it as like one person, a single artist, then it's like so much work to do. But if you can
Yes,
somehow,
it is.
yeah, it's tough to keep track, even if you have other people around you. I mean, for us, doing live streaming, it's what platform, what changes. I can tell you when I hit the login button today, I had to reauthorize something that I have no idea why it had to reauthorize, but it's saying that there was an update and all these things. So anything in that creative field where you're doing something, it's really such a challenge to stay on top of all of it, and then it affects your time management, it affects all the different everything else. So, basically it's like, what can be done?
Yeah, I just want to touch upon this thing that you just mentioned about the team, right? And I really feel like that's a catch-22 because you hear everyone say to artists like, "Oh, you need to like have your team to help you do this." But the catch-22 is like they also say like, "Oh, well when you're ready to have that manager agent, they'll be there." And you're not ready yet because you don't have the Spotify numbers, you don't have the this and that. So like are you ready to have the team or you're not ready to have the team? And how do you get ready to have the team? By not having a team. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's just this impossible little,
Chicken
Escher
and egg.
painting that we're in that we can't quite get around the stairwell. So I feel like, man, you just gotta go into you and try to like focus on like what the fire is in you, and everything is going to be okay if you do that.
Exactly. Right on. Let's pick this up more in just a moment, because now I want to cut over to, because we were talking about NFTs, and we have the Duke, and I want to cut right over to him, and then we're going to circle back on this. All right, Dave, what's the good word?
Yo, 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 yo.
Yeah, so there was an article, and it was a podcast from Harvard Business Review, and it was titled "The NFT Craze and the Future of Spotify and Streaming Music." And we were talking about NFTs. It's the buzzword. We're seeing these sexy headlines of like, Blau, $62 million here to Kings of Leon, $2.6 million. A lot going on that everybody's trying to look into this craze or fad or whatever they want to describe it as. What are your thoughts on this?
I thought it's an energy thing, is whether you want to get sucked into it or not. You know what I mean? And if you feel that there's value in it for you, I think that's the most important thing. I remember being very, very young, and Pogs were very popular. Everybody was playing with Pogs. It was great, man. I loved it. It was Pogs. They were made out of cardboard and they were circle. And then you had your Slammers. Slammers cost more, and you would, win your Pogs. And all of a sudden, Pogs and Slammers were gone. And before that was baseball cards, and it was really rad. And I know Gary V loves the baseball cards, and he's bringing it back. But the only reason why the energy is coming back on baseball cards is due to nostalgia. It's not that that piece of cardboard is worth any more than it was previously. There's still a million Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards. They're worth the same that they ever were. It's just the matter of people bringing value to it. And we live in this digital realm now. So if NFTs are Pogs and Slammers and Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards, then it's just a matter of us bringing value to it. If we don't bring any value to it, then it doesn't actually exist. You know what I mean? And I think as far as, this being about music and art, is important. Like what Aisha was saying is very deep. It made me a little bit emotional. It was about like, you know, the most important thing is your happiness and the joy that you get from creating, why you create to begin with. When this NFT thing started, man, I had so many great friends hit me like, bro, you're a great artist, man, you need to put your stuff up there. And I looked into it, and maybe I still will do it, but it's just, for me, it's a matter of time. I love the digital label that I'm with, because I just send them an email. I say, hey guys, here's my new song, put it up for me. And I'm happy to pay them to do that, because my time is valuable and I only have so much time. The time for me to create, that's my freedom. You know what I mean? I'm a dad, so I have so much time, and I own this, and I just got so many different things. But for me, the time of creating is so important. So NFTs is just as important as you make it. If you don't make it important, then it has no worth. And here's the other thing: is another point that I want to make is about the value that you bring into it. So say you're an artist, right? Let's use this Roku remote. All right. So say this Roku remote is my art. If nobody gives a shit about this piece of art, then it's not worth anything in this 3D realm. It's not worth anything in my room, on my block, in my city, in my state, in America, and it ain't worth nothing on NFT because it has no value and nobody gives a shit about this Roku art remote. It only matters if you are known, if there's something that they want in it. So that's the other thing to think about. If Q-Tip decides to, blow his boogers into a napkin, or it's say Kanye, let's say Kanye's boogers probably more value than Q-Tip's boogers at this point. So let's go with Kanye's boogers. So Kanye blows his boogers into a napkin. Now he puts it on eBay. It's worth something. He could take that same tissue napkin and put it on NFT and it's worth something. But your boogers are worthless because nobody gives a shit about your boogers. You don't even care about your boogers. As soon as you blow your boogers into the napkin, they're going right in the trash. That's how much you care about the boogers. Nobody else gives a fuck about them either. So that's the thing about the NFTs. If you don't have any value, then it doesn't matter how many sites you upload your things to of NFTs. If you put it on Mercari, OfferUp, Poshmark, Depop, it doesn't matter because nobody cares about you. They don't care. So really, and I'm not saying this to be hurtful, I'm saying this to be real. Why don't you bring value to your art? Bring worth to it by letting people know about it. And that's the thing you guys are talking about, how to get people to know about it. Now you got, this new app, you got TikTok, now you try to figure out algorithms, and you're not making any songs. If you're sitting there trying to figure out YouTube and TikToks and Twitters and Instagrams and fucking Clubhouse, you ain't making no art. Your art is now figuring out an app that eventually will go out of style, like MySpace and, AOL and CompuServe. So it's better to really think about how do you make people know about you and make the dopest things, the most lit things that you can so that people actually care about your art. So if you do want to put something on an NFT or sell a thing as an NFT, that somebody's actually going to want to buy it. Because if they don't want to buy it, when you put it on a table at a flea market, they're not buying it at the NFT website. They don't give a shit because they don't know who you are. And they only care about Kanye's boogers because it's Kanye. It's not because it's a booger. They don't give a shit about the booger. They care about Kanye. And that's the thing about it. So you really got to kind of look at that and go like, how do I build value in my own assets versus how do I sell my assets on 30 things that nobody's going to search for anyways? So that's really the thing I see with NFTs. It's like, is it worth it? Is it worth it for you to put the time to press upload, or is it better for you to sit down and paint or draw or write a song, And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Right on. The value of my own asset. Have you been following like what's going on Bitclout?
No.
Aisha, I'm just going to bring you right back in here right away. Let's get everybody up here because this is going to be a great discussion. Dave, you're gonna love this. Aisha, you've been seeing a little about Bitclout, right?
Yeah, a little bit. And so basically it's like kind of betting on someone's relevance or popularity. It's that kind of speculation game with making a coin for different celebrities that people bet on whether it's going to go up or not, according to whether they become more popular. If you see an artist that you think is going to become popular, buying into their coin early. Or if you think they're, going to lose face by saying something terrible on social media or whatever, like that also is at play. Yeah, it's fascinating. And there are other things about it that say that it might be a scam. I read that maybe their server was like just one server and it was like, not exactly the most established blockchain situation, but
yeah.
Anyhow, just the principle alone we can talk about.
Right. Yeah. The server aside, so what it is, it's basically like, you remember like the social media clout score. It's basically like they just merged the two, Bitcoin and clout. And so if I can have my own coin. Here's the Peter Schwing coin. Dave, you can have your own coin. We can all have our own coin, and then people can buy into it for no particular reason whatsoever, except they want to invest in you. But it's not really even investing in you. It's not like an investment. They're just buying because so they can say they own something with your name attached to it, and therefore your value increases by your popularity. And if you do something great, your value goes up and the coin goes up. So, the value of your own assets, this is an ethical kind of weird area that we're now going into. Because, I mean, I agree. It's like, what you're saying is like, nobody cares about, the snotty tissue. It's about Kanye did it. And that's why like somebody can flip a house. Somebody in Hollywood gets to Hollywood, buys a house. Maybe because they're so busy, they slept in it 1 month out of the year, and then they happen to be in a blockbuster movie. And then next year, they can sell that house. They bought it for $5 million. They can go sell that house for $20 million, and somebody will pay that. The house isn't different. The house doesn't have any other rooms, except somebody slept in one of those rooms, and now they can command $20 million for that house.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Seinfeld episode. Sorry, it reminds me of the Seinfeld episode when George gets John Voight's car, and he's super excited because it's John Voight's car, but it's some other dude named John Voight, and the whole time he's telling everybody he got John Voight's car, and everybody's like super hyped, and he finds out it's a different John Voight. Anyways, continue.
Well, that's the point of tying it together. Go on, Aisha.
No, what you said in your whole segment, Dave, it's this pursuit of popularity. Like, it's not a real thing of value. It has value if we decide it has value. And yet we are in this game of like trying to make our boogers matter. Like every artist wants their boogers to matter. And, that's the popularity game of it all. And I don't know. The other thing with Bitclout, though, is as I understand it, at the moment, you can, exchange your Bitcoin for Bitclout so that you can bet on these people's coins, but you can't exchange it out. So,
yep.
Yeah.
So these are all the things that, like, you hear about this, and people, it's the FOMO, they don't want to be late to the party, and a lot of musicians get caught up in this hype. And going back to, it's like, well, I'm a musician, so I want to have my own Bitclout coin. So I'm going to go register, and I have to figure all this out. And here's all the passwords, and they don't know what they're doing. And you get locked out, like anything with these NFTs and blockchain. If you get locked out of your account, it's not like resetting your password. There is a password, but there's a 12-word phrase passcode that if you get fully locked out of your account, you cannot retrieve unless you have this. And you're not supposed to store this digitally unless you have one of the iLocks. You store it on a piece of paper. The most secure thing in the world relies that you store it on a piece of paper in a safe. Okay, so let's just put that into perspective. But the thing there is that, these musicians like, oh, NFTs, they're seeing the headlines, the great sexy headlines of like, and, this artist, how do I do this? What they also don't realize is that they have teams. Those artists have teams behind them doing all marketing, getting it out there because, again, they have fans. And this goes right back to what Dave said. It's like, hey, if you don't have fans, why are you even going to do this? So build yourself up. And so, Dave, you want to expound on that even more?
Yeah, build yourself up. Like I said, like when I make music, I send it in an email, and I have guys that do it, but they also take a little bit off the top of what I make, and so that's a value to me. If you don't have any value, then you're not gonna have a team. Nobody, like when I'm making art, I got a lot of people around me, right? It's just my energy. But when I'm making art and I get thirsty, it's either I'm going to the store or somebody's going to the store for me. But if nobody cares about you and nobody's hanging around, you're going to the store, or you're not, or you're just gonna be thirsty. So if you don't actually create anything that people want to be a part of, you won't have a team. And on the same side of the coin, I also want to talk about people wanting to be popular and people wanting to be famous and have clout and all that type of shit. It's like I can guarantee you that these people don't know famous people, because once you taste fame, there's a certain level where you just don't want it anymore. Because you can't do anything. You're just trapped by it. And I have much more famous people. I'm not that famous, but people that are way famous, and I don't really like hanging around outside with them because you can't do anything. There's cars coming, there's people coming, and you're just trapped. And all you want to do is just chill and smoke some weed, and you can't do that anymore. So fame, as soon as you get fame, you don't want it anymore. And you can just read up on that. There's a great video on Rick Rubin, Andre 3000. They're talking about just exact. David Bowie talks about it all the time. You don't want fame. You want to have people care about your art. That's more important than anything. So if you can sell what you do it without fame is better. So you can actually go to the store if you want to go to the store. You actually do the things that you want to do versus being trapped. So it's a double edge. Either nobody cares about you or they do, but it's how much they care and how free you are with that care, you know?
It's like, do people really want to be famous, or do they just want to be seen? I mean, that's the inherent nature of people. It's like they just want to be seen and heard and recognized. And at what scale? Right, most people, yeah. But like those,
not everyone.
Yeah,
myself, I don't know, like, because all right, I was successful in Asia, right? But I was never successful here, and for me, like, I'm into that game. Like I feel it, like almost like a fetish. Like I'm into it. So for me, I'm cool with people auctioning my boogers off. I'm hip to that, and I wouldn't mind being seen on that level. Yes, it's a desire to be seen, but sometimes for some people it's more than that. And those people, I think, who understand what's involved, and could be a lot of things. I think it's for them. Those people are well adjusted for that. And many people are not, but it depends on how you're calibrated, I think. I know I'm the only artist who takes that position.
Well, the position that you're saying is a deep position, but there comes a fine line. And Basquiat's a good example, right? Because he was nobody, and then all of a sudden he was super famous. But when he got super famous, there were people coming to his art gallery and taking things that he didn't finish and selling them. And what happened to him after that? He became miserable and he was gone off the earth. So there's a fine line between like people recognize you and then encroaching on your life, and then you can't be who you were before. So it's a fine line.
Fair. But there are always disguises, people. There are always disguises.
I think maybe not everybody wants to be popular or seen. Okay, but it's just the inherent nature, and like, yeah, you can generalize, but it's like people just want to be heard for the most part. They want it to be heard, and whatever format that is, whether it's a spoken word or whether it's putting up a piece of artwork or a photograph or a piece of music, they want to be heard. So it's hearing. I'm not using heard as in the sense of the sensation, one of the senses of hearing. It's about just being recognized in that sense.
I want to be appreciated. I totally understand it. I appreciate everybody. Yeah, I love everybody. Much love to everybody.
We appreciate you, Dave. We appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So as we wrap up, any final thoughts? My final thought is, I almost want to title this video, What are Kanye's boogers worth?
Yes. I think that
NFTs.
is the perfect title.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. Dave, final thoughts.
Final thoughts, Kanye's boogers. I had this girlfriend back in the days. She used to sell her socks, her used socks. And dudes, this is on eBay, dudes would just, ask her, please wear the socks an extra 4 days, make it really stinky. And dudes loved it, and that was kind of anonymous. But this NFT stuff, it's not anonymous. You really have to put yourself out there. You have to post it on your Facebook and all your LinkedIn's, and you're like, yo, these are my stinky socks. And people will go, hey man, why are you selling your stinky socks online? Like, it seems a little strange. But like, listen, I got bills to pay. So it is what it is. You don't want to buy my stinky socks, don't buy them. It's not for you. So it's different things for everybody.
You also have Belle Delphine was selling bath water for $30. And now she was putting that up on Twitch and Instagram. Buy my bath water for $30. I think she bought a house with that until she probably bought a house with that. Aisha, final thoughts.
Just let it go. It doesn't all have to matter that much. You got the fire in you. Live in the fire in you. And that is what it's about. So when this all gets really daunting and there's this fog and barrage of all these things you need to do, just remember you're you. You can feel inside you what you are if you take a moment to do it, and that's what counts.
Right on, right on. All right, and that is going to be it for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to continue the conversation, leave a comment below. If you find this interesting, go ahead and hit that subscribe or like or whatever the button is. And make sure to register over at musicindustrycity.com. That's where you get our weekly schedule of our clubhouse, live streams, VR talk shows, the metaverse, all the stuff that we do, in essence. So once again, I want to thank our co-hosts, Aisha and the Duke. Have a great week. Peace.